Welcome to the Full Monty, where we reveal everything Montgomery has to offer. I'm your host, Mark Elliott, and I'm speaking to you from beautiful Zion Crossing Park, the perfect spot for a picnic or to relax to the soothing sounds of nature. We got a lot of great stuff to show you today, and to start, we're going to go see what's happening this week in Montgomery. So how about you describe the burger challenge that you have here at Tiger's Tail?
So we have a 2-pound burger challenge that we probably get 1 or 2 a month. And basically the customer comes in, usually with a crowd of friends, and we ask that person to eat a 2-pound burger with all the fixings in 30 minutes. It's a lot of fun, and we have pictures of these winners and contestants throughout the restaurant.
And have you done the challenge yourself, Corey?
I have not done the challenge. In my younger years, I might have been able to do it, but now I don't think I could do it.
How could you call yourself the owner of the restaurant, haven't done your own burger challenge? Well, I also noticed you have framed pictures of people all over the restaurant. So a lot of these are people that have completed the challenge. These must be some prestigious walls to get onto.
Yes, it is. And they've been here for a number of years, and people get a lot of kids coming in and looking at their pictures.
And now, could you also, I had a question, could you tell us what that is over there, way in the back over there? Yeah, that, never mind, I was seeing things. But anyway, I just want to say thank you so much, Corey. But that's, no, that was there.
Oh, okay.
That was there the whole time. Thank you so much, Corey, for giving us this inside look into Tiger's Tail. This is a real gem of Montgomery. On behalf of the whole community, I just want to thank you for keeping it alive.
Well, thank you very much for doing this interview, and we really appreciate you coming in here, working with the business community, and we appreciate all our guests in Montgomery Township.
Great. Take care.
Thank you. You can put that up there. That's good.
How you feeling?
Amazing.
Optimistic?
I could eat 3 of these. Like, I'm just right queuing up another one. By the time I finish this one, the next one will be ready.
Oh, you're welcome. You got an extra 50
Huge thanks to Benjaminos for sponsoring this episode of The Full Monty. Next up, we took a dive into local personality Tony Parziale, manager at the Princeton Health and Wellness Center and an all-around interesting guy. He's going to tell us about his life growing up as a big band jazz musician and his claim to fame as the former 2-time Guinness World Record holder for sit-ups.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tony Parziale. I'm the general manager of Princeton Fitness and Wellness. I'm also very involved in the community. I am a 2-time president of the Rotary Club of Montgomery Rocky Hill, I also serve on the board of the Montgomery Business Association, so very thrilled to be involved with the community, love the community and the people in it, and happy to be part of it. My father was a professional musician. I've played the drums all my life. As a matter of fact, I don't remember a time in my life where I didn't play the drums. And I started playing professionally actually at about age 13. It was interesting. If my father had a job that he couldn't make, some of the musicians would occasionally say, well, do you mind if we use your son? I found myself in nightclubs and whatnot at a very early age. And what's nice as a young musician, I always seemed to be the younger guy in the crowd at the time. I had worked with some people who worked with some of the greats. I worked with sax players who played with Frank Sinatra and Judy Garland and some of the old legends, Al Martino and Eddie Fisher. So there's been some very notable names. I've done different shows and worked with a lot of people. I've spent about 30 years working with a local big band called Bob Smith's Lamplighters. Matter of fact, I started playing with them when I was about 16 on and off, and we played for the 3rd anniversary of casino gambling in Atlantic City, and we played on the roof of Resorts International. On that particular night, they lit off fireworks at the end of the evening, and we were so high up on the roof of the Resorts International building that the fireworks were breaking not too far from where we were. So I was sitting behind the drums, and in between tunes, I could feel different parts of debris falling on me while we were playing. But I also, in between tunes, you could hear bing, 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 bing. All the pieces of the fireworks were bouncing off the drums and the other instruments. So it made for a pretty interesting evening. As a young man, I began smoking because I wanted to look older like the older musicians did. So I always had a cigarette hanging out of my mouth, and by the time I reached age 20, I was smoking about 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And I recognized that my lifespan would be pretty short if I continued that. So I quit smoking, and I started, my idea was just replace a bad habit with a good habit. And I started with some of the basics in fitness, sit-ups and push-ups. And it went from 10 of each in the morning to 3 hours, and like I said, for the last 40 years I've exercised about 2 hours a day, and I do that 7 days a week. When I turned 40, an interesting thing happened. I would always finish up a workout with a half-hour run on a treadmill. And I developed what I thought were shin splints, but I always had an old school mentality where you work through the pain. But it got to the point where I really needed to investigate it. They did a bone scan and with dye, and they found out that I broke my leg all the way across the tibia. I remember thinking, everything they said is true. When you turn 40, you start breaking down, and you have to slow down and take a step back. And there's another stubborn part of me that said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep exercising. And if I can't run for cardio, what else could I do? So I wound up doing sit-ups in half-hour increments. And after a while, I got to the point where I could do sit-ups indefinitely. And one thing led to another, and I looked into what the world record was for sit-ups. The record at the time in 2001 was 3,388. That was held by a gentleman in England. I did 4,181, and I broke it by a pretty significant amount. So as you can imagine, I was pretty full of myself at the time. And 6 months later, somebody broke my record. So I was depressed about it. I told my wife, my gosh, the other guy had it for 3 years, and 6 months somebody breaks it. And my wife looked at me and said, well, why don't you just do it again? And I was like, the 2-time world record holder. That has a nice ring to it. So what I did is I began training to a metronome. And I knew if I just stayed, if I came up on a sit-up on the beat, that I would break the record by a modest amount. I was sure going into it that I was going to do it. It was just going to be by how much. And that was just from the preparation. That wasn't from a cocky attitude, although I'm sure I could demonstrate that once in a while. It was from the preparation, being prepared for it. The record went up to 4,650 in an hour. I did 5,083, so I did it twice, and it was very empowering. And I always tell everybody, it's not the most important thing that ever happened to me. Getting married and your kids and your grandkids, I mean, that's the important stuff. It's the people in your lives. I have 5 grandchildren, and have them think it's a big deal. For no other reason than that, it was worth it to me for that. So very grateful at the decision I made when I did break my leg. Like I said, I could have easily took a step back, but it's what you do moving forward that really makes a difference in your life. I'm Tony Parziale, and in closing, I would just encourage everybody to stay positive, to keep moving forward. You know, we're all going through different things in our life, and I encourage people, you know, if you're sedentary and you're feeling despair, get yourself moving, get yourself on a program, and it'll make a tremendous difference in your life.
This is Heather Achenbach, Executive Director here at Save Animal Shelter. Now, this is a really amazing animal shelter right here in Montgomery, and we were lucky enough to sneak in for an interview. Later on, we're going to spend some time with one of my favorite animals here. But first, Heather, it's great talking to you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Save?
Thank you so much for coming today. We are, as you said, your local shelter here in Montgomery, technically Skillman. We are a shelter primarily for cats and dogs. We have capacity for about 75 cats, sometimes more when you count kittens, and 25 dogs.
I know you have a special animal that you wanted to introduce us to today, so how about you tell us about them?
Yes, we'd like to introduce you to Pepper. Pepper found her way to Save after her owner needed to go into a living arrangement where she couldn't bring her. She is 10 years old. She is a beautiful brown tabby. She's a lap cat, very, very sweet, and we would love to see her get back into a forever home.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about how adopting a pet works here?
Yes, we do try to keep it streamlined. Right now, we are open to people with an approved adoption application by appointment only. After you've completed your application, we review it. We'll schedule an appointment with you, or you can feel free to follow up to check on your application status. We certainly don't mind a follow-up phone call. We want you to leave with the pet that matches your home, your lifestyle, and what you were hoping for, because pets are a family and they are a lifetime commitment. If you have any questions, feel free to visit our website. It's savehomelessanimals.org. You can also give us a phone call at 609-309-5214.
You are about to enter another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into Montgomery Township. In this segment, we aim to investigate the strange and unusual happenings of this quaint county. So join me today as we dive into the secrets of a local abandoned train station. I'm here at the Belmead-Reading Railway Station, something of a historic site here in Montgomery, to investigate reports of paranormal activity. Built on solid red brick with a chestnut trim all the way back in 1919, this once beautiful station served the people of Belmead as a common stop for passenger trains. It remained in use until 1982, when the passenger rail service was deactivated. Today, it serves a different type of passenger: ghosts. The rail itself is still used for freight and cargo transportation, but the only locomotive pulling into Belmead today is the Soul Train. Since the deactivation of the passenger rail service, the station itself has fallen into disrepair and ruin, making it the perfect home for wandering spirits. Let's get a closer look. As you can see, the station has had better days. Parts of the roof are entirely caved in, vandalism is rampant, and the area is just littered with unidentified human remains. NJ Transit conducted feasibility studies to reopen the West Trenton line for passenger service. The results of the report indicated that reopening the line still posed too much of a financial risk. The New Jersey Historic Preservation Office believes that, should the line be reopened, Belmead Station should be rehabilitated. However, to date, the necessary funds have not materialized to reopen the West Trenton line. Meanwhile, the buildings continue to decay, making the idea of restoration even more difficult. Preservation New Jersey declared it one of the most endangered buildings in the state in 2019. Now, why would the town of Belmead refuse to repair this Montgomery landmark? Why wouldn't they fight to reopen the West Trenton line? Sure, They cited financial reasons, but we all know what's going on here. I think there's a ghost elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. Visitors to the site have reported feeling a cold presence in the area, while others have heard the distant metallic click of an old ticket puncher. Some have even seen the ghostly apparition of an old train conductor waiting for a train that will never come. We are going to return here tonight to get this railroad ghost on camera. I'll see you then. Welcome back to the investigation. We're here at the Belmead station once again to see if we can finally crack this mystery. I am going to delve into the depths of these haunted ruins in order to catch real paranormal evidence on this ordinary handheld camera. Let's go. I am approaching the western building, navigating my way through the brush. What is this? Ectoplasm. I knew it. This is worse than I thought. We haven't explored the eastern building yet, so we're going to cross the bridge and make our way over there. So here we are at the eastern building across the tracks. Now you may be thinking you can prevent a ghosting by simply boarding up your windows, but this is simply not the case. They'll just phase through the walls. What? What is that? What is it? Hey! What? Glad to get this guy off the streets. We're gonna book him downtown. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone at home can feel a bit safer knowing that the Belmead station is no longer haunted. Hopefully, its road to rehabilitation has been made just a bit smoother tonight. I'll see you back at the studio. In closing, we'd just like to thank our sponsors once again and all the guests who took the time to come out and speak with us. Thank you so much. This has been The Full Monty, and we'll see you next time.